Hi, this is Chris from the Project Management Guide. This video is called Project Financial Management, Managing a Project Budget for Beginners. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to manage a project budget once the project is live. So we're going to talk about the financial controls that you need. We're going to look at an example of a working budget, and then later on I've got some tips on how to manage the budget. So how do we manage a project budget? So we need a set of financial controls, or a process, or a set of administration processes, basically, that we can run the project finances with. So we need a basic project cost tracker, or a working budget as I call it, which is a spreadsheet. We need to keep track of all the money we've spent so far. We need to forecast the money that we're going to spend. We need to manage any of the potential changes or any increases in budget or increases in costs that we foresee, or sometimes we might spend a bit less than we intended as well. We also need to do a lot of planning and plan ahead, continuously looking ahead on and planning for what our finances are going to look like over the coming months. So it's really important to communicate the financial status of the project on a regular basis. Now, typically we'd do that monthly, and we would report that in our project board, we cover it with the sponsor and the key stakeholders, and certainly we need to cover it with our finance team and the finance team that are involved in the project as well. So when we're setting up our financial admin on our project, or the financial controls in the project, the key team that we need to talk to, of course, is the finance team. So the finance people in your organisation that you've got to work with on a monthly basis to work out what the financial process is that you're going to use to control the project. So you need to work out a process for tracking all the costs. Agree with the finance team who's going to raise purchase orders for suppliers or freelancers or those sort of things, or the costs that come up in the project. And it's really important to get all of this obviously organised before you sort of get really into the meat of the project, so you got a really slick process running all the way through. You've got to work out how you're going to get your reporting, your monthly financial reporting working. You also got to work out what your approvals process is for getting the finance or approving purchase orders. So you need to get all of this worked out and agreed with your finance team. And then finally, you need to actually physically get the money released for your project. So you might need project codes set up in finance systems, or there might be a finance approval board or something where you have to go and get money approved to be released from the finance team onto your project. And then finally, you've got to understand how you are going to manage change. What's the approval process for additions or increases in costs? If you want to draw down on your contingency money, etc., you need to work out what the process is for that is. And then typically that's agreement with the project board as well. So all of this needs to be worked through with your finance team once you've got the green light to start the project. You're going to take a look at a typical working budget, or a project cost tracker, as I call it. And obviously this is going to be in a spreadsheet. So we're going to take a look at that now, and work through each of the columns and the sections that you're going to typically run when you're as part of your financial control process. So let's have a look at the first piece then. So here we've got the project finance tracker. So you can see that the first, basically what we've done is we've taken the budget and we've added another 2 or 3 columns to the right here. We've got the original budget here, which was signed off by the project board and the finance team, and this was all agreed. This was all the green light. You've got all the green light to progress with the project. So this is the budget. So we've always got the budget there as the reference. To reference against it when we're managing the project finances. And then we've got a couple of a few new columns that we've added. So this is the actual spend that we've got to date on the project. So this would be typically updated on a monthly basis. So each month you would run a process with your finance team, or you probably sit down with them, or they would gather all of the costs that have come into the project in that month, and then you would add this into your spreadsheet here so that you can keep track of what the finances are. And sometimes you work with your supplier. So in this case, I would have probably worked with WebDev Co Limited and talked about what the costs are that are coming, and or what they've invoiced already, or what the project costs have accrued so far on the project. So this is all about the actual spend to date on the project. And you want to, as I said, you want to update this on a monthly basis. We would also look at this point, we probably regularly forecast how much money we're going to spend to complete the project as well. So this is what this column here is about, the forecast to complete. So we think that we're actually going to underspend a little bit on this phase. So the first phase, we're going to underspend by a little bit, by a couple of thousand. It looks like where we're at in the project right now, it looks like we're sort of pretty much finished phase one. We came a little bit under budget, so we got £2,000 that we didn't spend, and looks like in this particular project we're in phase two. We're in the main build and the go live phase of this project, and we're forecasting that we're going to spend the full budget allocation for this phase of the project in this next one. Interestingly, in the next lower down here in the people costs, it looks like we're going to need the tester for a little bit longer than we forecast, than we originally budgeted for. So it looks like we're going to overspend here. So there's a variance here that we can see of £10,000. So we're going to overspend basically, and we're forecasting overspend. Same for the project manager. So we're going to need the project manager for a little bit longer than we thought we were on the project. So we're forecasting an overspend of 10,000 for the tester, and overspend of 5,000 for the project manager. So this is the rest of, you're just going down the list here. We're forecasting that we're going to probably spend on the equipment for the project team. Again, that one's going to come under, we think, 8,000. We think we're going to spend the full amount for the hosting. Travel expenses, looks like we're going to spend all of the 5,000, or at least we're keeping that in the budget for the moment. We're not forecasting that we're going to underspend that. Okay, so moving on to the variance column then. So we've been discussing this a little bit next to the forecast to complete column. So what we're showing here, that 11,000 is an overspend there at the bottom, the subtotal of the variance column there. And we need to take that from our contingency budget. So we need to go and get permission to do that. What I would probably normally do is wait until I'm sort of further into the project before I would draw down on that figure. But you need to get permission, or at least inform your project board and your sponsor and your finance team that you're forecasting an overspend, in this case of about 11,000. And of course that 11,000 is made up of your 10,000 overspend for your tester, 5,000 overspend for your project manager, and then that's sort of netted out with your underspend on website phase one and your equipment. So that's how you get to the 11,000. So we're forecasting therefore then that we're going to need 11,000 from our contingency budget. So we've still got 38,500 left in the contingency budget, and I like to keep pretty much all the way to the end of the project. I like to forecast the full budget still as long as I can, and then it's only towards the end of the project that I start to sort of discuss where we're actually going to come on the full budget. So I would be saying that the project is going to be delivering basically on the budget of 379,500 here, and I would present it in a similar manner to this, so that people know that we still got our contingency left. We've got quite a bit of contingency left. Clearly, if we're going to bust our contingency and we're going to spend a lot more of that, then that's a different conversation. And obviously, we would have been updating our project board and sponsor, etc., all the way through the project. So hopefully, this gives you some sort of overview of how we would run this. You'd run a separate spreadsheet for this. Obviously, you update this on a monthly basis. and you sort of keep these figures up to date, and you present these figures to the. You might summarize this, so you might not go into quite this level of detail for your project board, but you present it on a summary level to the project board. But you certainly get into the detail monthly with your finance team with this. It's really important to have good financial processes when we're running our project, and it really builds confidence in the project manager, and it makes sure that when we're communicating with our project board and our finance team that we've got a lot of confidence in the numbers that we're talking about, and that we're completely on top of the project finances. So basically we're trying to have a situation where there's no surprises when it comes to the finances at all. So we've got to have those really tight processes in place, and people really care about the budget, and they worry about the costs. The sponsor is probably had to go to their bosses and to their management to get approval for the project, and so they're really accountable. They're really on the hook for the money. So you don't want to have any surprises for them about the money. So you need to be continuously communicating with them about the money. And sometimes you do need to increase the budget for various reasons, or you might take an opportunity to change or add some additional things into the project. Things turn up and you think, oh, hang on a minute, it might be worth us doing this additional piece of work while we're here in the project. So there are good reasons for sometimes increasing budgets or adding additional budget to projects, and it's perfectly fine to do that. But you've got to keep your sponsor and your customer close and really up to date on your project finances. And of course, as a project manager, you're always trying to bring your project on budget or under budget, and nobody wants to have those really difficult. No project manager wants to have those really difficult conversations about increasing the budget. Finance is one of the areas on projects where it can cause a lot of stress and that sort of thing. And we're trying to minimise stress on our projects and make them run very smoothly. So thank you for watching the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please subscribe by clicking on the button below. I'd love to hear your comments. So tell me how you're getting on, creating your budgets, managing your budgets, some of the project trackers. If you've got any questions, then please feel free to get in touch below. And if you want some more information, then find us at theprojectmanagementguide.com. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.